And this is pretty much the Super Bowl if you're an individual stock picker. Is your thesis going to play out? The DCF models that you've been running, are you running them correctly? Is your technical analysis going to play out? A lot of our questions are going to get answered in these sets of earnings and are really going to set up next year's stock picks. What is 2025 going to look like for a lot of these different companies? And I look at Ford here, and Ford has been pretty much an underperformer, trading at $11 a share. It does pay a nice dividend at 5.4%, trading at 11.5 times earnings. This is going to be a very interesting one to see here because Ford tends to stay in this range of right around 9 to 11, maybe $12 a share. And we've watched a company like GM really take off this year, up 91% in the last year. And so is Ford going to be a nice catch-up trade here? Are we going to see some positive catalysts coming out of Ford? Now, we will be updating our model on Ford here, as anything under $10 to me is pretty interesting. Once earnings drops, we can reevaluate where we personally have the stock going versus what they are currently doing and seeing if we're projecting out pretty correctly to where the company is heading. So this will give us some clarity on the opportunity for Ford. Now, another one that's going to be interesting to see here is going to be VF Corp. This is a company that's been down 81% over the last 5 years. And over the last year, we're starting to see it start to stabilize here, down only 6.6%. And we had a low of around $11 a share. And this is where I thought it got interesting for the company when we did our analysis. Around $10 to $11 a share is where I did my analysis on this company. And so I thought the risk versus reward makes sense at these levels. This has definitely been a tough one for long-term investors for sure. So we'll get a better understanding of where VF Corp is heading when we get these earnings coming through on Monday morning. I find Tuesday to be pretty interesting here with SoFi, PayPal, McDonald's, and Pfizer. As most of you know, Pfizer is my largest position. So if you guys don't see me posting for a while, you probably know what happened. But SoFi's been on a substantial tear as of late, and so has PayPal. A lot of the financial institutes have been skyrocketing as of late, and especially ones that are associated with fintech. In fact, SoFi is up 48.9% in the last year, with the majority of that move coming in the last few weeks. It's been a long time since I did an analysis on SoFi. We're literally going back 2 years where I thought between $5 and $6 makes a lot of sense. You definitely would have had an opportunity to accumulate shares at these levels. And I thought fair market value was sitting close to $10, $11 a share. And it's already hitting these levels. And so I'm very curious to see the earnings reaction for a company like SoFi. They're projected to do 4 cents worth of earnings and $636 million. PayPal is one that I was extremely bullish on. And pretty much as bullish as Pfizer. I thought this was a tremendous opportunity for PayPal. We're looking at $1 of earnings and just under $8 billion of revenue. With PayPal, we've seen a lot of multiple expansion here. This was a company, I believe it was trading between 11 to 15 times earnings. Now it's starting to push 20 times earnings, and it is up it's up over 50% on the year. We had an ideal price target between $55 and $57. And if you were able to accumulate at these levels, you got to be pretty thrilled at the recent action with PayPal. But I think trading at 20 times earnings could be a little bit concerning here. We have to see what they're projecting out for growth rates, how much stock they buying back, how are they returning capital to shareholders, how are they deploying capital. Are we going to see that ROIC start climbing up even higher, which then we could see even more multiple expansion. So this one is very, very interesting at these levels. I don't know if I would personally chase it here. I think if you had the opportunity to get it in that $55 to about $60 range, congratulations. This is a good long-term hold. I'm not so sure I'd be adding in above $80 a share on the stock. So if we do get a strong correction on Leidos, this might be one that we do a live stream on and just break down altogether. Now, Tuesday close is going to be a market mover for sure. This is probably going to be how we set up. We could see a choppy Monday, but Tuesday after close going into Wednesday is where I think we're going to see extreme volatility. Whether it's to the downside or upside is going to really come down to earnings on AMD, Google, and definitely Chipotle and Visa are a big player as well. Going into Wednesday after a substantial after hours Tuesday earnings, the ones that I want to highlight are definitely going to be Humana and GPN. Now GPN, we've done an analysis on. And ADP is also interesting to me. I haven't run an analysis on this one, so I'm kind of curious to see what the earnings report's going to be on that one. But GPN is expected to do about $3 worth of earnings, just under $2.4 billion of revenue. And this is one we've done an analysis on. And I thought anything between $75 to about $85 makes a lot of sense for this company. Now, it's been a minute since I've done this analysis, but I want to show you guys that it's down 11% on the year, and it's starting to approach some interesting territory here where we might be taking a look at this one on a substantial dip. rerunning our analysis and seeing if this is a good entry point. But as of right now, I'm just waiting on the earnings report, kind of seeing what they're doing. Then we go Wednesday after hours. We got the big boys reporting with Microsoft, Meta, Coin, Hood, Starbucks down there as well. So pretty interesting ones. One I want to keep an eye on here is Etsy. Is this it for Etsy? Is it over? Because the market's pricing in Etsy to be basically not even a player anymore in online shopping, even though they have a unique proposition here. Basically between $40 and $50 ideally is where we'd like to get in. Me personally, I would like it to dip below $40. Not sure if that's going to happen. If earnings seem to be reasonable, if they're stabilizing, if management's executing, this could be one that we might start building a position in here. One thing I do like about Etsy is there is some unique proposition here with the fact that they're able to really customize gifts for individuals and connecting a consumer with a creator. They're deploying capital fairly well here at over 12%, over 10% free cash flow yield. Company sitting nearly on $1 billion of cash and just a little over $2 billion of debt. So fairly clean balance sheet. Fundamentals seem reasonable, deploying capital well. A lot of things I actually do like about Etsy, but once again, this is a very competitive space. There's a lot of people entering this space, and Amazon pretty much owns the space. So this one is, and that's the main reason why I think Etsy has been an underperformer as well. As most of you know, this was a COVID darling and has sold off drastically. Over the last year, it's down 24% in a wide 52-week range, coming in at nearly $90 a share and as low as $48 a share, trading pretty darn close to a 52-week low as of right now. So this earnings report could really put some more downward pressure on Etsy, or it could actually put the floor in on Etsy. We look at forecasts, we have a low of 45 and a high of 105, so pretty drastic differences here. But this one is definitely piquing my interest at these levels. So guys, I'm going to end it here. Make sure you like and subscribe because we were going to be updating our models in a lot of these earnings. I'm probably going to do a lot of live streams and do it live just because it saves me a tremendous amount of time. As these earnings are dropping, I'd rather just do it live together, kind of plug in our numbers, figure out where we're at. So if you like this type of analysis, make sure you like and subscribe. And I will also update earnings that are coming later part of the week as we get into Monday and Tuesday. Have a wonderful day, and we will all see you in the next one.